Hello friends, welcome to Manthan once again. Today in this session we are going to show you a few videos which are related to the topic of light traveling as spherical bubble. This video is all about explosions. And why explosions? So far we had been talking only about light as an effect once it reaches us, and we used to study that part of it. Today what we are going to do is flip over and go to the source. Source is where the light gets created, and hence we are studying the explosions. So what is an explosion? Explosion is nothing but a sudden release of energy followed by possibly creation of light. But the phenomena that I want you to observe is what happens between the release of energy and the creation of light. It is such a blink and you miss phenomena, possibly that is why we have not observed it, or if we have observed it and we have not connected it to light traveling as a spherical bubble. So let us get to the videos directly. So you will see this explosion around 6 seconds into the video. Let us start it. As I said, it's such a blink and a miss phenomenon, and don't worry if you have missed it, because there is at 14 seconds the slow motion. So let us go to the slow motion. Let us freeze this pane at this moment, and what you see here is what I want you to observe. There was light all around, and suddenly just after the explosion, before this light was created, you see that it has completely become dark, as though the explosive energy of the explosion has cleared the complete light surrounding in the vicinity. And I want you to see another video, again an explosion, and this also is such a blink and a miss phenomena. But don't worry if you miss it, we will go back and show you in the slow motion. This is the video in the real motion. Again there is an explosion. You may have missed it, so we will freeze it when it is around 43 seconds, where you will see the pane going completely dark. This is the phenomena that will act as inputs for our further discussions when we are analyzing how to connect this to the light traveling as spherical bubble. I want you to see another input video which we will use again to try and understand how the energy during explosion travels. This is another explosion. As you can see here, you may want to see this energy which is flowing out. From this point of view, it's a semicircle, but any point of view it would be a semicircle, which would mean that even the energy itself is flowing like a dome in a spherical bubble shape. Now we need to try and see how to use this phenomena and connect it to the light traveling as a spherical bubble. So let's go to the analysis. To begin with, there was no explosion, there was just the light incident on the area which is in the vicinity. And it is not just this particular light which is coming from, let us say, sunlight. There was a commotion of light, a riot of light, which is coming from every direction. The reflected light from the surrounding hills and the places. So this is the darkness that I have shown, which when the screen went dark. Why is it that I have shown it as a perfect sphere, or a sphere for that matter? Is that maybe when the complete screen went blank or dark, you were very close to the situation. If you were sufficiently away, this would look like an irregular sphere. Why I would say it as irregular sphere is because it was an accident. The fuel that was burning was irregular in shape. The constitution of that fuel was not uniform. So if you were to have a controlled explosion of a fuel which is uniform in construction or its constituents, you would for sure, and if it is away from the surface of the earth, you would for sure see a fairly regular spherical bubble. And that is how it is. Let us now try and analyze what is happening here. So to the left in this representation, what you see here is the explosion, the cause where the light gets reflected. There is another cause which is the star itself, the sun, and that is sending you the light. Now let us assume that these are not traveling as spherical bubbles. Let us assume that both of them, the light from the sun is also traveling straight line, and the energy which is coming out of this is also, the force is also in straight line, in the sense it is going in all direction, but it is a straight line. If that were so, the explosive energy of the explosion would push all the light which is exactly opposite, 180-degree exactly opposite, and it would push it away. But what happens, we had discussed that this is not just the sunlight which is coming here. There is a riot of light, commotion of light coming from every direction. Then you would see that the explosive energy would only be able to push out the lines with the ray which is coming directly opposite to it. Any other direction that the light is incident on this sphere would not get pushed away. So you would not see it completely dark, you will see sparkle of light in this sphere. And we saw that it was completely dark, there was no sparkle of light anywhere, so to say. And that is possible only when the energy of the explosion itself is traveling in a spherical bubble shape. So there is another way to, now for sure this proves that the energy of the sphere is traveling, the energy of the explosion is traveling in a spherical bubble. We need to go towards the light. But let us now consider just the travel of the energy of the explosion itself. If you were to create an infinitesimally small representational volume of a sphere, you would have a sector something like this. I have not taken it to center point because I consider this as the surface of the fuel. If the surface of the fuel is not there, then there is a point of center. Since surface of a fuel is mass, and that is why we are considering this as an area. Now, if the energy has to move, we know that the mandate of light and energy are the same, which is that it has to reach every nook and corner of the universe, and in doing so it should consume the least energy, because that way it can travel farthest. Now for that, so this is area 1 and this is area 2, and they are separated by again an infinitesimally small delta x, dx. The distance is dx, and when this dx approaches 0, you have to now ensure that the energy is moving from this area to this area, and that is possible only when the energy is moving in spherical shape. If it were to move in straight line, there would always be an angle of incidence and there would always be a space gap, and hence they would not be able to how should we say, make justice to their mandate. And that is why we say that this is conclusive proof that the energy of the explosion is traveling in spherical bubble shape. Now you would say that, agreed, that the energy is moving in spherical shape, but how does it get connected to the light traveling in spherical bubble shape? Now you should understand that light is nothing but the effect, whereas the explosion is the cause. So just the way this energy of this explosion is traveling in spheres, surely the energy that is generated in stars is also traveling in spherical circles. So when you have a cause which is moving in spherical bubble shape, the effect has to just follow. We have never seen a situation wherein cause is going in one direction and the effect is going in another direction. Just the way cause is created, the effect also follows it. So when we say that the energy of the explosion is traveling in spherical bubbles, we can safely say that the light is also traveling in spherical bubble, and it is not traveling as a straight line or as a wave. Now this is one of the things, and previously we had done a domestic setup wherein we had actually measured the light meter, and when we introduced an obstruction on at a place which is 180-degree opposite of the light meter, we had seen that the measurement of the light meter or the brightness dipped, and that is possible only when the light is traveling as spherical bubbles. If it were traveling in the straight line, even if you introduce 100 obstructions on the other side, there should not be any effect on the light meter. So these are the two things which help us suggest that light after all may be traveling as a spherical bubble. And what we are trying to infer is that imagine you had a camera and you could video record what is happening on the sun in slow motion. The shutter speed is so high that it is greater than speed of light. I know it is not possible. Just imagine you have a camera which has shutter speed as high as you could catch this light in slow motion. When you record it and you see, would you see the light coming out as arrows, or would you see light coming out as spherical bubbles? I feel it would be more of this than that. This is what we are trying to say, that the light after all may be traveling as spherical bubble and not as a straight line. Thank you for watching.